So we have some new models from Kubey, and I gotta say, I am impressed. This is the new KB368, and this one has the flame anno tiger stripe pattern. I really like this pattern. It actually looks even better when it's on like a polished surface. If you look at Serge Panchico's I can't think of the name of it, but I'll put it up on the screen. That's a good example of flame anno on a polish. But this one has titanium hardware. Amazing, amazing action. This kind of reminds me of a Ferrum Forge. I know it's a Jelly Roll, or it's a Jelly Jerry's design. Titanium milled pocket clip, titanium frame lock, steel lock bar insert. Like I said, titanium hardware, titanium backspacer, good access to the lock bar. No texturing needed, and it is fall shut action. Multiple deployments. The fuller and hole deployment, because it is a fuller and a hole, just works so good. Like, it doesn't matter if you're thumb flicking. I mean, you can reverse flick it with just about any finger. The detent is really nice on this. And then you have a very well jimped flipper tab. It seems and feels like it's going to be low, but it winds up working out really nice. And yeah, nice snappy detent. They tuned it really well. I can obviously fail it if I really want to, but with any attempt at all, like, you have to try to fail it. So any attempt at all, it's going. And then the reverse flick, or sorry, the left-handed action is also really good because you have so much leverage onto that hole. Even if you're holding the lock bar, you can still easily flick it out. It doesn't, you know, obviously the detent might get a little bit stronger, but it works. Jimping on the spine is actual functional jimping. It's a flat ground blade, an S35 VN blade steel. Nice geometry, nice and thin behind the edge, nice broad blade, so that is going to make it pass through materials pretty well. It does have quite a bit of belly. It is a drop point. It is for sure a drop point. It does taper down, but it's almost a straight back. However, the way this handle works, it's actually pretty easy to get to that tip. You know, it's not going to be like the best utility cutter on the planet, but you can absolutely do it. You know, you can absolutely score things and use that tip just fine. Belly's going to work really good down on a surface. So smooth, man. This thing is ridiculously smooth. Riding on ceramic caged bearings. The pocket clip, I liked how they put like a fuller and a hole in it, just like the blade. It kind of matches it, or how Jelly Jerry designed it like that. The clip works well. It definitely has a little bit of a click, you know, going over or getting the ramp over the seam of your pocket, but there's plenty of room under there. You know, it doesn't shred pockets. You know, like I said, it has a nice little click in and out, but it works great. Ergonomics, man. Holy cow, this thing is so ergonomic. And like I said, this thing reminds me of a Ferrum Forge. But yes, it reminds me of Ferrum Forge quite a bit, the overall design, and, you know, the ergonomics, they're so good. This thing is like hand melting, great thickness, great width. But the Wee Knife Co. Malice, this reminds me a lot of. I even have the flamed anno version of that knife. You can also think of the Archbishop, and many other Ferrum Forge designs. So very cool. Let's check out the next one, because we do have a few to get through. The next one is the KB294, and this is, it's a drop point dual ground tanto, because the tip does drop down. It's not perfectly straight, but it almost is like a traditional tanto where it's like a straight back. Beautiful swedge. Love the grinds and the satin finish on there. Nice hollow grind here, nice and deep. Then it has a nice flat grind up here. You're going to be able to use that to cut down on a surface. It does have a secondary tip, not the most pronounced, but because it goes from thinner to thicker, you know, you can, it's pretty pokey. And this is a straight edge right here, so you'll be able to cut all the way out to there without it slipping out of a cut, which I always like. And then tantos, you know, they're known for being, you know, good for not poking as in penetration, but good as far as toughness with poking. Like being able to jam it into things without fear of the tip snapping because it has so much material behind it. So the blade on this is M390. So we have an M390 satin blade with a heavily milled frag pattern titanium frame lock, titanium backspacer, hidden lanyard pin, titanium clip, lots of milling on the inside, great access to the lock bar. It does have titanium hardware once again, and multiple forms of deployment. It has great thumb stud action. The detent is nice and strong with the thumb studs. Now with the flipper tab, it feels lighter than the thumb studs, but it's really, really well done. Like, great detent for both actions. I could fail it if I want to, but you know, this thing's not even broken in yet, and if I give it any effort whatsoever, not even like effort, if I just break the detent, it's flying, you know, so I have to attempt to fail it if I'm going to. Again, very ergonomic, very neutral ergos in this case. Nice thickness, thickness behind the edge, good access to the lock bar, stupid smooth. The thumb studs are nice and grippy. I love these kind of thumb studs. They're placed in a good spot. And, you know, there is a chamfer here, so it helps you get down to that thumb stud. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I think it's a good-looking knife as well. The sharpening tool and plunge grind could be a little bit better. I would prefer it to be moved back so you have plenty of life to sharpen off. I wish this was just cut out right there, so the plunge grind wasn't right there, where, you know, it could create a smile. Luckily, it is internal stop pin, so you're not going to have to worry about cutting in a choil if you, well, you're not going to have to worry about it being a problem if you wanted to cut in a choil. All in all, though, super solid knife. The clip, yeah, the clip works well. It is over frag pattern, so you do have to take that into consideration. You will feel it going over the surface, but these have the little chamfers on the edges of the frag, so it's not too bad. It actually works pretty well. The only other negative I would say is I wish these cutouts were on the inside instead of the outside right here. They do have semi-sharp edges. It doesn't really bother me going in and out of the pocket, but it could, and it's so close that, you know, I just wish it was on the inside. I think that would have made it even better. You know, and since the clip is not reversible, it would have been cool if they actually put like a smooth patch right there for the clip to go in and out of the pocket. But yeah, either way, all in all, man, this thing is a badass knife. I do like it quite a bit. Phenomenal action, phenomenal ergos. It's going to be a great user. Super solid. Kubey usually does a pretty good job with that. Now this next one is a little wicked. This is the KU261, and it is a karambit. So you have multiple forms of deployment, including a front flipper that has a wave feature attached. So pretty cool, I guess. You know, hey, I like as many deployments as possible. You can detach this if you don't like wave features. This hawkbill is done very well. It's very aggressive. Lot of recurve there. One, if you wanted to use it for EDC, it will absolutely trap materials. That tip's going to work great for precision, but for a self-defense knife, you know, which is kind of the general purpose, you know, aside from like construction uses, you know, electrical work, you know, carpet cutting and things like that, because hawkbills work great for that stuff. This is going to be super aggressive because as soon as that tip hits whatever, you know, it's aiming at, it's going to pull the rest of the blade into that material, or it'll pull the material into the blade, sorry. So that's the way they're designed, so that once this tip hits, it just basically yanks the material into the blade, you know. So all you gotta do is just clip that tip. The action, actually, you know what, let's go over the materials. We have 14C 28M blade steel. Love the blade steel. Steel liners, good access to the lock bar, nice texturing. We have a steel pommel or steel ring, jimping back there too. So if you are going to use it like this, you know, you're not going to want to put your finger all the way in like that, but you can. Right there's where it's going to be. And yeah, the jimping does have a lot of traction on it. I see that it's got, oh, I guess that's just for weight relieving. But let's talk about this action. Nice snappy flipper tab. It's positioned kind of poking up a little bit, but it's not uncomfortable. It's not, I wouldn't consider it like a pokey flipper tab, even though it looks like it. And they tune the detent great. Then you have the hole deployment. I always love a good hole deployment, and it works pretty well. The reverse flick, I feel, is a little bit better than the thumb flick, but you always have this little, the wave feature if you want to for the thumb, which does work as well. You can also probably flick up off of the wave feature. Then you have this front flipper. A little awkward because this thing's in the way and you're kind of reaching up. You got to watch out for the flipper tab right there. But you can do the reach over like that. You've seen me do the side finger earlier, but it's a little awkward, but it does work. And you know, I'm not going to say it's bad whatsoever. You have so many deployments that it doesn't matter. But it's a little awkward to get to that front flipper. It's just so wide, you know, and you're trying to go over the top of that. But regardless, you can get a full grip inside. Well, at least I can inside, you know, these two areas, but it is tight for me. You know, yes, I could absolutely use it very effectively, and then I can always put my pinky in there if I want to scoot back and get some more distance. And then obviously, you know, the karambit grip. But yeah, pretty damn cool. The only negatives I really have, I'm actually surprised on this. They did a good choil, because this would be an example where I would maybe give it a pass if it didn't, because sometimes people don't want to have to worry about anything snagging. This is not a snaggable choil, so props to them for putting not only a good plunge grinding sharpening choil, but also the kind that should be on this, because if you hit right here, you don't want anything to catch and then not go to the edge. This will literally just drill right into the edge, so no problems there at all. Very, very smooth too, man. The liners do have a lot of milling on the inside. The clip is not a deep carry clip, but that will probably, you know, serve you a little bit better, and they seem to function pretty well. Let's try it really quick. So as far as negatives go, one thing, the wave doesn't work as good as I would have thought it would, because it sits so proud. This little hook right here seems to sometimes allow it to go right over the top. Now, I also wish that there was a reversible clip, because, you know, some people, while a lot like to do the traditional karambit grip where, you know, it's in the reverse grip, I tend to like to go with the forward grip in most cases, just because it's a lot more natural for me to swing like a hammer rather than swinging upright, you know, and catching and trapping and stuff. You know, I'd rather just go, you know, straight in. So I would prefer to have a reversible clip. I think it would be, you know, even more functional for somebody like me that doesn't want to use it in the reverse grip. Now, you could obviously still use it, but I'm mostly speaking about rapid deployment, getting it out and into a fight. Obviously, I could still use it, you know, in the forward grip, no problem. But all in all, you know, it is pretty damn cool. I like the materials. Super snappy action. The pivot looks pretty damn cool. Let's check out the designer. Here is the designer. Who is that? I'm not sure, but that is the designer right there. I'm not sure exactly who that is. The edge feels nice. Kubey does a really good job with their edges. So yeah, all in all, it's pretty damn cool, but the wave feature is, you know, it could be better. And this is just going to be a quick one because I freaking love this thing, and it is new. It's possibly my favorite knife that they make now. If you guys know me, I talked about the Momentum like crazy. I raved about it. I actually was the one that suggested they need to make a premium version of it because it was so damn good. And now they have. a titanium frame lock version in M390 steel, lock bar cutout on the inside, very premium build, great titanium mill pocket clip back spacer, micro milling on the handle. And as far as the budget ones go, the budget knives are great. I've had, I don't know, probably a dozen of them, all different colors, and you know, they all of them have been good. This one's been used a lot, like a lot. The thumb studs came a little loose. You know, I just need to re-Loctite them. But all in all, man, the ergonomics, the use, the action, this thing is ridiculous. It's so good. This is like a perfect front flipper for people to learn how to front flip on. Now, this one being a titanium frame lock, the D10's actually a little bit stouter than the liner lock version, but I love it. Great access to the lock bar. Nice texturing on that lock bar too. Heavy texturing on that lock bar. I love that. Again, I love Kubey's thumb studs. I think they do a phenomenal job with their thumb studs. They're nice and sharp. These are placed very, very well. Easy to access. We already talked about this front flipper being like a perfect front flipper. It's so good. But the ergonomics with this knife, you know, it doesn't matter if you want to go backwards, forwards, do utility cuts. It's just a very versatile shape, you know, with a harpooned blade, with a tapering handle. What an amazing knife. So, yeah, there you guys go. Just a quick look at some new Kubey knives. Here is the 3 titanium ones we showed. And then the Hawkbill. So, there you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.